Kengen Ashura is a story that revolves around fighting. In particular, bouts between different characters with unique technical skills who either overcome a hardship or pose as a challenge. This was emphasized in the Kengen Annihilation Tournament arc, where the focus was not only to build up a universe of colorful characters, but was designed to celebrate power. On the other hand, Kengen Omega is a story that builds upon its predecessors. Instead of creating characters for the sake of writing a good old scrap, they are built up like actual individuals with personalities. Hence, the writing for the sequel plays like a drama, where interactions between characters are valued. But not only that, Kengen Omega is more subtle and has built up a mystery that has brought on an element of suspense. Therefore, the Kengen vs. Purgatory tournament is nothing like the Kengen Annihilation tournament. In structure alone, this tournament is a team match, where characters from either faction face off in head-to-head matches, where characters not only interact with their fists, but with that mystery taking center stage, creating opportunities to add to the uncertainty. Although many of the fights in Kengen Omega have been a pleasure to read, this fight is especially problematic because it was not a fight. In fact, it served as a means to an end. Welcome to MozzarellaCustard, Manga Sometimes War. In the Kengen series, the fight between Okubo and Terashi was pretty lacking. Although it possessed a unique quality that sets it apart from the rest, it wasn't enough to account for the lack of action and ultimately the lack of meaningful writing. The true nature of the bout was illustrated at the start of the match, where Okubo began mocking Terashi for cosplaying, while looking like a cosplayer himself. This is an example of slapstick, where we as readers are presented with an absurd scenario. Furthermore, Terashi finds this joke funny, telling his opponent his interest in comedy and nothing more. This little exchange doesn't deliberately elevate violence into the match. However, it sets a lighthearted tone, something that is unique from the other fights in Omega. As for the match itself, the match was the farthest thing from high octane. Although it lacked the explosive quality of a well-written fight, it made up for it with Terashi's unsettling act. The first few exchanges involved Terashi lifting up his palm or dodging in a strange manner to avoid Okubo's blows. On the other hand, Okubo was incredibly wary of his opponent and was primarily the aggressor. The beginning of this match is set up as a battle of wits rather than a battle of fists. Although the match heavily favored Okubo, every blow that he landed caused more damage to himself than to his opponent. However, Okubo's damage was minimal and he wasn't in any real danger. Within this interaction lies the greatest problem with this match. Okubo faces zero consequences despite losing the Battle of Wits. Every time Terashi gains the upper hand, Okubo isn't put into a difficult position. In fact, Okubo is able to overcome Terashi's manipulative schemes through simplistic strategies that completely invalidate Terashi's efforts, changing the match from a battle of wits to just an ordinary bout. This change in organization results in a fight that doesn't have any highs or lows, no defining actions that sway the course of the fight in anyone's favor, resulting in a fight that isn't entertaining. However, this isn't to say that the match doesn't possess its own merits. Let's talk about the finale. After Terashi takes control over the match with his kinetic vision, Okubo continues throwing high-speed zabs, eventually luring Terashi to the end of the ring. Although Terashi prepares to halt Okubo's tackle, Terashi is taken completely by surprise by an uppercut thrown outside of his awareness. Instead of finishing the match right then and there, Okubo decides to humiliate his opponent. This is a decision that ultimately defines this match as a whole, but the true impact of it cannot be appreciated without taking a look at Terashi's backstory. As an assassin hired by the French government to kill Nicolas Lebanner, Terashi had to undergo surgery to prepare himself for unarmed combat. Furthermore, he had to infiltrate the underground fighting promotion Bisamon and wait for the promotion to be absorbed by Purgatory. Not only that, Terashi was lucky enough to garner the attention of Toyoda Idemitsu, who made him represent Purgatory in their tournament against the Kengen Association. So, it has been one wild ride for this seemingly ordinary guy who is working way above his pay grade. Now that Nicholas is stuck in a coma, all Terashi has to do is survive one more match and the ordeal is finally over. But his opponent has other plans. The humor of this match can be derived from this single moment. Terashi did some irreversible things to his body to finish a very difficult mission, but the odds of him completing this long drawn out mission depends on the whims of a clown ready to kick his ass in front of thousands of people. This interaction reveals the true nature of this fight. It's a comedy. The light-hearted tone of the match, alongside the humor of Terashi's situation, makes up for the lack of action. However, the comedy doesn't land. Instead of making the reader laugh at Terashi's misfortune, we feel sympathy for the guy. Although the perception of the people is varied, I am absolutely certain that I account for a large group of people when I say that this match is not my type of humor. Seeing a character as dedicated as Terashi and seeing him get humiliated in such a manner doesn't amuse me at all. If anything, it makes me sympathize for him even more. Therefore, as a comedic match, Okubo vs Terashi managed to fail. Since the comedy didn't land, what we as readers are left with is a low-contact match without challenges, hardships, and for that matter, action. Considering that this is the sequel to a great series, Sandrovich really dropped the ball with this one. Furthermore, the real purpose of writing such a match wasn't to write an enjoyable fight. In fact, it was to tie up loose ends and to wrap up the Nicholas side story. Since this is entirely separate from the drama between the Worm faction, I predict that it will not receive as much attention as other monumental events that have finally unfolded. For these reasons, and more, this is what I consider to be the worst fight in Kengen. Thank you for watching. If you like Kengen content, be sure to subscribe and hit the notification button. For next week, I will be continuing my series by evaluating the strength of a certain hitman named Albert Lee, otherwise known as the Falcon. Expect that to be uploaded next Wednesday. Until then, this was the cyborg whale named after Italian cheese and a dessert item. Goodbye.